Boom! Welcome into Sports Bet. Betting Insight today, Pauly and Teddy Wednesday, June 7th. Big game breakdown. Game 3 of the NBA Finals. Can the Warriors make it 15-0? We'll also get to the Dodgers and the Nationals, a day game. Kershaw and Strasburg. The deep dive. We finish the NFC South with the Buccaneers. Strong division. We'll close it out today, and we'll try to make it 2 in a row with the play of the day. How about this? We start with a bad bet. The Cardinals, 25-cent move, $1.10 to $1.35. Wainwright, who'd been terrific lately, roughed up. The story was Scooter Gennett, who becomes the 17th player in MLB history to hit 4 home runs in the same game. He also had 10 RBIs. Second player to do that since 1913. He had 38 career home runs coming into the game and was in a 1-for-20 slump. Unbelievable.
He had 3 home runs in 117 plate appearances for the season. Of course, when you go 5 for 5 with 4 dingers and 10 RBIs, to absolutely annihilate or light up Adam Wainwright, who'd been in tremendous current form. Yeah, Gannett deserves a whole lot of credit today. And, of course, with all the money coming in on St. Louis, with the Cards bet from -110 to -135, yeah, that'd be bad bet, but a ton of tweets on what we saw last night. What, the 17th player in MLB history with a 4-home run game, the first guy since Josh Hamilton back in 2012.
Bob Horner did it, and his team lost. Sean Green did it. He went 6 for 6 in that game. I was watching the Mark Whitten game live when he did it. 4 for 4 with 12, or 4 home runs with 12 RBIs. Mike Cameron did it. All 4 were solo shots. He had 2 in the same inning. Willie Mays also did it. Hamilton, as you mentioned. Colavito, Chuck Klein, Hodges, Delgado, Gehrig, Mike Schmidt. Incredible list. Wow. How about this? In the American League, it didn't happen between 1959 and 2002. So some elite company there with that guy, and certainly an unlikely guy to do it when you saw his numbers coming in.
Yeah, utterly random, and that's the beauty of baseball. That's why we love baseball, because stuff like this that comes out of nowhere. I mean, when you think about all the guys, a great tweet from Jason Stark. Never hit 4 home runs in a game for the Reds. Let's see. Johnny Bench, Hall of Famer. Frank Robinson, Hall of Famer. Tony Perez, Hall of Famer. Adam Dunn, well, he's not a homer, a Hall of Famer. None of those guys go yard, who are probably the best power hitters in Cincinnati history. But a little guy named Scooter got it done last night.
Bad beats. Cubs Marlins, first 5. Under 4 was the total. 1-0, 2 outs. Nobody on in the bottom of the 5th. Walk, Rizzo 3-run bomb. Hayward adds a double. Cubs blow them out 10-2. Cubs have won 5 in a row after the 6-game losing streak.
Yeah, all of a sudden, the first place Cubs have won 5 in a row. I mean, you know, brutal beat if you had the under here. You're 1-0, 2 out, and nobody on in the bottom of the 5th. You got under 4, you're feeling pretty good. Even after Rizzo hits the bomb, all right, you push, you know, tough push. Oops, then you get an unearned run, so the bettors don't even get the push. Jeff Locke pulled after 5 straight batters got on with 2 outs in the 5th. Tough beat for under bettors for the first 5 there.
Bullpen shenanigans. Nova had a win. Bullpen blew it. Pirates were plus $1.15, 5-3 in the bottom of the 9th. Orioles win 6-5 and 10.
Yeah, I mean, the Pirates were plus 115 in that ball game. Jonathan Shoup hit the 2-run bomb to tie it. Then Mark Trumbo with the game-winning hit in the 10th for the Orioles to win it. Pittsburgh falling into last place. Now 6 games under 500. That's a tough beat if you had the Pirates.
Another bad beat. The Astros finally lose 7-1, and it was 7-3 in the bottom of the 8th. They were $1.30 with Paulino, and they got beat.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like a real comfortable Houston win again. This is probably the worst beat of the night of the 3 that were, well, that first 5 under was pretty tough. But for a full game, this is by far the worst beat of the night for Houston backers. They're up 7-1, you know, and then 3 different relievers couldn't get the 3rd out in the 8th. And then Moustakas hit a 2-run bomb off Ken Giles, same guy who gave up the game-tying double with 2 outs in the 8th. Royals win 9-7, scoring 8 unanswered against Houston. If you laid the modest chalk with the Astros last night, yeah, that was a bad beat.
Bad bet. I don't understand this one. The Giants took money for the 2nd straight night in Milwaukee. They won the other night. Last night they couldn't do it. Plus $1.30 down to 105. They were backing Matt Cain, who came into the game 0-2 with an ERA of above 8.
Yeah, well, he entered the game 0-2, 8.28 ERA. He finished the game 0-3 with an 8.40 ERA. That's on the highway. He's been very, very good pitching in the pitcher-friendly confines of San Francisco. But Miller Park, not a good ballpark, not a good fit for Matt Cain. I'm not sure what the market thought they were getting from. I'll tell you what they did get. They got burned by Chase Anderson. Again, Anderson, he's found something the last couple of starts. Now 21.2 innings of scoreless baseball over his last 3 trips to the hill. Maybe a pitcher you want to keep your eye on moving forward.
Also a bad bet, there was Padres money. Unbelievable, against Robbie Ray. $1.75 to as low as $1.50. That thing was 10-1 early.
Oh, yeah, and there was a fair bit of Padres money. I mean, I know that San Diego has played better ball over the last week or two, but Robbie Ray was brilliant. He's been brilliant. We've talked about him on the show multiple times, and, the Padres look at Lamet, the rookie Lamet. Well, he managed to give up 9 runs in 3 innings on 5 hits, which tells you that he was walking batters. Yeah, 5 walks, and hit by pitch, and an error. That game was over early. Bad bet for the wise guys who are all over the Padres.
And one bad for the books, Phillies. Big move, plus $1.15, went off the favorite against the Braves. They won 3-1. Nola pitched well in that one, and he's now 3-3 on the season. Are we able to bet on a World Series of poker now?
Well, yeah, the whole story with Nevada, I mean, it seems like every show, Pauly, every day we have, this is now legal, and that's now legal, and this is okay, and look at the momentum. I mean, I read an article in Forbes yesterday talking about how this, sports betting is liver than it's been on a national level. But here we got a new law in Nevada just passed, just signed by the governor, Brian Sandoval, last weekend, unanimously approved by the Senate and the House. It's going to be effective starting July 1st. And now we're talking about being able to bet on the World Series of Poker. Obviously, esports is the big deal. Here's a quote from one of the state senators, Becky Harris. Quote, by adding other events, we were able to capture events like esports and the World Series of Poker. This allows for Nevada operators to use a pari-mutuel system of wagering and offer bets that they might not otherwise make. Now, we're not huge fans of pari-mutuel wagering because that's where the house gets their cut before anybody gets any profits. And that takes away the minus 110. But the fact is, we're talking about e-gaming, which is not something that I'm an expert on, but there's going to be a market for e-gaming experts. I'm telling you that right now. Something, if you're looking for something to specialize in, might not be a bad idea to look at e-gaming moving forward.
All right, up next, big game breakdown. Game 3 NBA Finals. Season on the line for the Cavs. Warriors favored. And the incredible ATS stat when a team's down 0-2. The Game 3 team at home. We'll get to the first half line as well. Plus Strasburg and Kershaw on SportsBit. Betting Insight today on SBRPicks.com.
Research before you bet. Be sure to check out SBR Picks for the best game predictions, breakdowns, and much, much more.
Back on SportsBit, Betting Insight today is always live odds, SBR odds, and Sportsbook Review Rating Guide. Make sure you're betting with a trustworthy shop out there. Game 3 tonight. Can the Warriors make it 15-0? Get the broom out, too, because they'll finish the job if they win tonight. 3.5, they're favored. 226.5 the total. Now, this is a combination of going for 16-0 and also what happened last year. Blew out the Cavs the first 2 games at home. Went to Cleveland, lost Game 3, 120-90. Don't expect a letdown. And we have the second game with Kerr as well. So that's something. I don't figure a letdown for Golden State in this one. The markets are playing on the first half as it's pick 'em in the first half. As the last 2 years, the team down 0-2 at home in Game 3 is 24-3 against the spread. But I cannot believe what happened again yesterday with the media scrum. Lou and LeBron said they're still going to push the pace. No changes, and J.R. Smith will start again.
Yeah, I mean, Smith's had a rough series, no question. But let's talk about that first half number real quick because, most shops are sitting at 3.5 for the full game. There are still some 3s out there. There are some 4s out there. Some of the books in Vegas. Cantor took a couple of 6-figure wagers on Golden State minus the points, and they were looking to try to attract some Cleveland money. They moved to 4. There are a handful of books like that. But the first half line is still sitting at pick 'em, because of that pattern with the 0-2 teams getting the money at home in the first half of Game 3, that 24-3 ATS angle. But, you talked about the tempo issue. Remember, when Cleveland won the series last year, they played at a pace 95.4 possessions. The first 2 games of this series have been 10 possessions higher, 105.5, really 11 possessions per game higher. So they're playing much faster than they did when they won the title last year. Look, in Game 2, it was the first time in 20 years the stat has been tracked that both teams had at least 30 fast break points in a playoff game. 30 for the Cavs was their season high in fast break points. But, you make a good point, Pauly. That might well be suicide for the Cavs, but I don't think they're going to change it. Look at the quote from LeBron. That's not our game. We don't play slow-down basketball. We play at our pace, and we play our game. We got to this point playing our way. We won a lot of games playing the way we play, so we're not going to change.
Yeah, because you beat shitty teams in the Eastern Conference. Now you're going up against a juggernaut. Why would you give a team more possessions that's better and has more offensive weapons and shoots the three like they do? It doesn't make any sense. It also, as we've talked about, it wears LeBron out. Game 2, when LeBron and KD were both guarding each other, LeBron didn't score, and he had 3 turnovers. And Durant, I think, went for 13 points when they were matched up head-to-head, and he was 6 of 9 shooting. James in the first half so far in the series, 13 of 20, 37 points, 14 assists. Second half, 8 of 18, 20 points and 8 assists. Multiple people have told me they've never seen LeBron so winded and gassed as he was late in the third quarter of Game 2. And he stopped going to the basket in the third quarter, and their defense was bad as well. Here's Lou on Durant. He's a tough cover, just like LeBron started on him to set the tone early. Try to bring physicality to him. Then after that, we got to put other guys on him so LeBron can get his rest. With Shumpert on him and RJ on him, just try to give him different looks. It's Jefferson. It's going to be tough to guard him one-on-one anyway, so having LeBron off the ball where he's able to get some steals and roam a little bit and play free safety, it was good for us. We'll see how it goes. Well, not going. I mean, you got to worry about. I don't understand why J.R. Smith is starting again, too. He has 3 points in the whole series.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you're going to point fingers at Cleveland, all right, I'm not pointing fingers at LeBron after the first 2 games, even though, he didn't play his best basketball in the second half of those games, and KD's been the better player in this series. But you want to point fingers, let's start with the guard play. You have Kyrie Irving. He set the tone against Boston. He got to the rim. He hasn't got there at all in this series. He's shooting 40%. He has almost as many turnovers, 7, as assists, 9 in the first 2 games. No defensive impact, obviously, from one of the weakest defensive point guards in the NBA. And he's only gotten the line for 3 free throws. So I would say if you're looking at Cleveland, who's got to play better, Kyrie would be my number 1 guy. Second guy may well be J.R. Smith. What do you have? He hit that 1 3-pointer on the second possession of this series with, a minute and a half into the first quarter of Game 1, and he hasn't scored since. And you look at this points per 100 numbers with him on the court. Let's see. Net minus 27.1, but J.R. Smith's capable. He's had games in the past, and I would not be surprised to see one of those games where J.R. Smith has an impact, even though he hasn't had any impact so far in this series.
You know what's scary? Golden State can play a lot better. Game 1, 15 missed layups. Green doesn't score till 1 minute left in the third quarter. Thompson was 3 of 16. Game 2, 20 turnovers. Outscored in the paint by 20, and they still blow them out. Scary. We'll get back to this game with the play of the day. Live odds, SBR Odds, Sportsbook Review Rating Guide as well. Look at this. Nationals and Dodgers. 12 o'clock first pitch Pacific. 3 o'clock on the East Coast. We're going to get blacked out in Vegas. To hell with baseball. Dodgers are 165, 6.5. The total in this one, you don't even have to look at the stats to realize how good Kershaw is. Look at the line. He's $1.65, and this Nationals offense, number 1 in average, on base percentage, slugging, and OPS. And Strasburg career 76 and 42, and he's 7-1 with a 2.91. And this guy's $1.65.
Yeah, it's insane. I mean, I actually went back and looked because I'm like, I've never seen. I mean, this was one that you look at the line, and you go, what? Okay, Strasburg was at least minus 140 in all 11 previous starts this year. There was one game where he was like minus 138 if you shopped around. We'll call it minus 140 in every start this season. Last year, in all of his starts, he was a dog once, plus 100. He was a dog twice in 2015 at the Mets and the Red Sox, plus 105, plus 115. He had one game at Pittsburgh in 2014 was like plus 102. He was a dog a handful of times in 2013. None of them were higher than plus 120. And he wasn't a dog at all in 2011 or 2012. As a rookie in 2010, he was a dog once, plus 110. So this is by far, we're talking about a guy that in his career, he's been around in the big league since 2010. He hasn't been a bigger dog than plus 120. He's plus 155 here, and that speaks volumes about what we're talking about, Clayton Kershaw. I mean, I don't ever recall, literally ever recall seeing that 50 games into the season, a guy with their ace pitcher on the hill, an offense that's number one in every category as a $155 dog. I don't recall it, Paul. Maybe it's happened. Not very often.
All right, Dodgers 30-6 in Kershaw's last 36 regular season starts, and the Nationals lost both games in the playoffs last year that Kershaw pitched in as well. And look at the numbers this year, 2017. It's close head-to-head. ERA, you throw this graphic up, 2.91 to 2.28. You see the fielding, independent pitching, the strikeouts per 9, walks per 9, and the average just about even as well. And then we go back to the bullpens. Night and day. Nationals have the worst bullpen ERA in all of baseball. Dodgers number 2. They only trail the Indians in that one. So if it's a tight game again, adds to the Dodgers.
No question. But, remember, even though the Nationals lost both games against L.A. that Kershaw started last October, they scored 8 runs against him in 11.2 innings. It wasn't like they got completely shut down by Kershaw. And now Kershaw will be favored here for his 151st consecutive start. That's something, Pauly. Really is.
Up next, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We finish the NFC South, and we'll get back to play of the day with Game 3, Cavs and the Warriors on SportsBit. Betting Insight today on SBRPicks.com.
What's up, everyone? I'm Drew Martin with SBR. Want to give you an update on a free handicapping contest that we're putting together. It's called the MLB June Bet Points Contest. The purse is 1,500 SBR bet points, which go to the top 5 finishers. The top 5 finishers also get an SBR t-shirt, and the winner of the contest can be featured on one of SBR's shows. I'm Drew Martin for SBR. Make sure to find it on the SBR tab on the SBR website. I'll see you in the contest.
Back on SportsBit, Betting Insight today, Pauly and Teddy. Follow us on Twitter at Pauly Howard, at Teddy_covers. Deep dive coming up. We'll finish the NFC South with the Buccaneers. Before we do that, Teddy, I guess the Jets are tanking. They release Harris after practice. Remember last year, Todd Bowles said, I don't know where we'd be without this guy. Now he's gone, and they're expected to release or trade Eric Decker.
Well, there's no surprise that the Jets are trying to jettison as much salary cap as they possibly can, and these moves are all designed as cost-cutting moves. They're designed to help the Jets' flexibility moving forward from 2018 and beyond. Obviously, Todd Bowles not pleased with the concept of losing a guy like David Harris, who's been an elite tackler for that team for many years, really a leader on that defense, and he'll be missed a lot more than Eric Decker if Decker gets cut. Decker's been a non-factor for that team, largely.
We'll start the AFC North tomorrow. We finish out the NFC South. The Buccaneers win total 8. 9-7 last year. 9-7 ATS. 7-8-1 to the under. 3-win improvement after a 6-10 season, and they were 2-14 in 2014. 6-2 back half of the campaign straight up in ATS. The straight up winner went 15-1 ATS in Bucs games last year. Only exception, +7 against Dallas that Monday night game. They lost by 6. Some garbage points in that one. What do you have on the mainstream stats?
Well, their turnover margin was +2. Nothing to be excited about there. Interesting to note, though, they had a ton of takeaways. They were 3rd in the NFL, 29 takeaways. They were bottom 10 in giveaways with 27, so they were not particularly good at protecting the football. The offensive mainstream numbers, 5.2 yards per play. That was slightly below average. 3.6 yards per rush. They were a lousy rushing team, bottom 5 in the NFL. 7.2 yards per pass. That's right around league average. And they allowed 35 sacks, league average type number. So nothing that stands out from those particular stats. On the defensive side, they had allowed an 88.8 QB rating. That's average. 48 sacks, top 10 in the NFL in getting to opposing quarterbacks, and 4.4 yards per rush allowed. That was slightly better than average. The defense, solid. The offense, solid. Nothing spectacular about this team last year. They workmanlike kind of put together a strong second half to improve again by 3 wins after improving by 4 wins the previous season. So certainly a team whose arrow is pointed in the right direction.
The defense was nasty and finished really strong in the second half of the season. They drafted O.J. Howard, tight end out of Alabama. They also took Goodwin, the wide receiver out of Penn State. They picked up Deshaun Jackson and more weapons for Winston, who's got to step up, got to prove it. I mean, he really struggled at the end of last year as well. Something else to watch, Aguayo with the yips. Second-round pick. He's fighting for his job in camp with Nick Folk, so we'll see if he's able to hang on, and they might cut bait with him as well.
Yeah, when you talk about a team and pretty clear offseason needs, I mean, they wanted to get as many weapons around Jameis Winston as they could. I mean, the GM, Jason Licht, had a very clear directive. Give our franchise quarterback weapons. So, you add Deshaun Jackson in free agency. Okay, you bring in O.J. Howard as the number 1 pick out of Alabama at the tight end position. Okay, now, all of a sudden, maybe you got some pretty good weapons for a guy, again, who had turnover problems last year. He threw 18 picks, and he had 10 fumbles, lost 6 of them. He felt like he was trying to do a little bit too much. So, we have now Deshaun Jackson and Mike Evans at wideout, plus Goodwin, plus Cameron Braid at tight end, plus O.J. Howard. They got some pretty good pass catchers. The question is, what happens at running back? Because Doug Martin, he stunk last year, 2.9 yards per carry. He's got a one of those PED suspensions that's going in to 2017. They got a guy in the 5th rounder, Jerry McNichols out of Boise State, who looks like Martin and has kind of the same skill set as Martin. Are we thinking a 5th rounder can take over for a guy who's been a Pro Bowler a couple of times?
Yeah, well, those Boise State guys, they can get it done. Look at the history. Look at Ajayi as well, too, in Miami. I'll trust the Boise State kids. What do you have on the schedule?
Well, I mean, last year they were, in terms of strength of schedule, it was near the league average. This year it's slightly tougher than average. The NFC South plays the 4 teams from the AFC East and the 4 teams from the NFC North. Their 2 extra games, they have the Giants at home and they're at Arizona.
I don't think much of Winston, but it's a pretty good team. What do you think? I lean over.
Yeah, this is a division that we like. Okay, there's things to like about Carolina. There's things I'm not bullish on Atlanta, but I don't think Atlanta's going to completely tank. And I certainly look at Tampa Bay as a team that has a lot of upside. You don't like famous Jameis? I'm a famous Jameis fan, and if he can solve those turnover problems, get the ball to his weapons, sky's the limit for the Bucs. I mean, this is the type of team, if I'm looking at long shot Super Bowl futures, Tampa fits the mold, although they could go 6-10, but they're live to go a long way this season if things break right for them.
I'm with you. It's a good division. Nothing would surprise me who finishes in last place or who wins it. And I think the Saints have a bounce back year too.
Yeah, I'm with you. 100%.
All right, money time. Play of the day, winner with the Red Sox. 24-3 the last 2 years. Let's keep riding this. Cavs first half, pick 'em. The talent, pride, ego, too much of it to go down without a fight. Season's on the line. Beat them by 30 last year. I know Harrison Barnes isn't walking through that door, but it's Durant. So I think the Cavs come out on fire and make this one interesting in the first half. Let's cash another ticket here on Sportsbet. That is the play of the day. Tomorrow, AFC North, Game 3 recap. Is it 15-0 for the Warriors? Get to all that coming up on Sportsbet. Betting Insight today on SBRPicks.com.